Part 35. After being expelled from the palace, she returned with her cub and amazed the whole city. Author, Hanggu. Chapter 566. It won't be long. Your Majesty, you see there are so many playboys in the capital. They have 3 wives and 4 concubines and go out to have fun. Princess Yang He is of noble status and outstanding talent. Your Majesty will definitely not marry the princess to such a mediocre person. Lin Xiangji lowered his eyebrows and looked worried, as if he was helping the emperor solve his problems. The Queen Mother personally granted the marriage, and Lin Xiangji no longer mentioned that the emperor owed him a promise. Lin Xiangji saw that the emperor's expression eased a little, and then he brought up some ridiculous things that the sons of the 2 ministers did. As Xiao Jingzhao listened, his eyes couldn't help but look at his friend in front of him. He was handsome and tall. If he was paired with Yang He, he was a perfect match. It's just that his 3-inch tongue was too good at fooling people. Xiao Jingzhao glared at him unhappily. Do you know that being a consort will mean that your future is over? I know. I have admired the princess for a long time. I am willing to give up my official position and title to live a carefree life with the princess. Didn't you say it won't be long? Lin Xiangji smiled and didn't argue. He wanted to slap himself in the face. The ancients said that talking too much will lead to mistakes, and it was true. Have you lived a carefree life? You wish. From now on, you will be reinstated as the acting head, and your salary. Thank you, Your Majesty, for your grace. I will not take your salary. In the future, when I move into the princess's mansion, Yang He will not let me live in poverty. Before Xiao Jingzhao finished speaking, Lin Xiangji knelt down to thank him with great awareness. Half the salary, at least others won't laugh at you for being a gigolo. In this way, Lin Xiangji became a laughing stock among the ministers after dinner. Some people said that he was scheming and had been with the emperor for many years just for the princess. Some people said that he was stupid and gave up his bright future to marry the princess. Lin Xiangji didn't care at all. He was happy like a fool every day, trying every means to find new things to send to Yang He Palace, just to make the beauty smile. The second heavy snow in winter soon arrived as expected. The craftsman finally developed transparent glass. Xiao Jingzhao first asked people to replace the windows of the pepper room with transparent glass. He estimated the speed of making glass. Within 10 years, every household window can use glass. Zhang Shiyu stood in front of the window, looking at the heavy snow outside through the glass. She seemed to be in the 21st century. Stop looking. It's time for a nap. Xiao Jingzhao hugged her from behind. Zhang Shiyu turned around slowly and looked at her husband tenderly. Aren't you going to the imperial study to handle official business today? No, I will accompany you to take a nap in the future. Well, state affairs are busy, you also need to rest. Recently, the emperor of Liang State passed away, Mo Zixuan ascended the throne, and Wan Linggang sent envoys to Liang State. Sang State sent people to kidnap him, and he arranged for several small countries around Sang State to nibble away at Sang State. Zhang Shiyu also felt sorry for him not getting enough rest. The two walked hand in hand to the bedroom. When they walked to the bed, Xiao Jingzhao untied her belt skillfully. Just sleep for a while, no need to undress. Zhang Shiyu's clothes were already very comfortable. Master said that the skin also needs to breathe to be healthy. Until all the clothes that they wore were removed, the man hugged her and whispered in her ear, "Let's go to the space and take a bath." The two of them had long been accustomed to taking a bath in the space. Zhang Shiyu said meekly, and they entered the space in an instant. After a while, Zhang Shiyu realized that she had been fooled by him. Xiao Jingzhao? You are untrustworthy. Zhang Shiyu's words almost jumped out of her teeth. Xiao Jingzhao smiled and said non-stop, I said that I will only love you in this life. Please bear with me, it will be fine in a while. Xiao Jingzhao coaxed and deceived the person in his arms to be gentle as water. I don't know how long it took. Xiao Jingzhao lowered his head and sucked on her earlobe. Try page 7 again today. Zhang Shuyu was sweating profusely, too tired to say a word. She half opened her eyes and glared at the man who was like a greedy cat. Her stunning face and the way she glared at others were all so charming in Xiao Jingzhao's eyes. Xiao Jingzhao lowered his head and kissed her between her eyebrows. You is willing. The scene on page 7 appeared in Zhang Shuyu's mind, and she was so embarrassed that she wanted to escape on the spot. Just as she was about to say no, a hot kiss blocked her. After another cup of tea, Zhang Shuyu blushed and glared at Xiao Jingzhao, who was smiling. In the hot spring pool, don't do this when you get pregnant in the future, or you won't be able to keep the child. Xiao Jingzhao stroked her flat belly with a satisfied look on his face. Your husband understands, and I will be gentler in the future. From then on, Xiao Jingzhao went back to the pepper room every day to take a nap. Zhang Shuyu said she disliked him for being too clingy, but her body was the most honest. The two of them were inseparable, deeply in love, and practiced a book of fire avoidance diagrams. Sushui has too much to learn with Shui Sheng by her side, and she won't come to disturb their love at every turn. Kaiju is pregnant, Gao Mu buys a mansion outside the palace, and Zhang Shuyu lets her go out of the palace to take care of the baby. Mayer married Kang Yun, and Zhang Shuyu arranged for her to go to the East Palace, firstly to make her and Kang Yun live together, and secondly, Mayer is a good manager, and with her in the East Palace, Zhang Shuyu is relieved. In a blink of an eye, it's time to prepare for the new year again. Knowing that Princess Kong has successfully given birth to a little princess, Zhang Shuyu prepared a generous gift on behalf of the emperor. The envoys from Liang State also returned to the capital, and Xiao Jingzhao did not break his promise and really sent Su Huiren to Liang State together. Zhang Shuyu learned about it and went to Su's house with the New Year gifts. When Su Huiren saw Zhang Shuyu, the expression on his face was hard to describe. "Uncle, is he okay?" Zhang Shuyu asked nervously. She got happiness, and she hoped that the man would be happy too. Su Huiren was silent for a moment and nodded. He is no longer the simple child he used to be. He governs Liang State very well, and the ministers are obedient to him. His queen is virtuous and dignified, and she is already pregnant. Zhang Shuyu breathed a sigh of relief. That's good. Su Huiren paused and said, he asked people to plant a large peach orchard, which will bloom and make wine after the spring. He said that he hopes that the queen can see the peach blossoms in full bloom one day. Hearing this, Zhang Shuyu's nose was sour. Arjun and Yutong returning to Beijing for the new year, Zhang Shuyu quickly changed the subject. Madame Su took over the conversation. I may not be able to come back for the new year next year. I just learned that she is 2 months pregnant. The child may have been conceived when she returned to Beijing last time. Zhang Shuyu also learned a good news when she left the palace this time. Aunt Du was also pregnant, and the time of pregnancy was similar to Du Yutong. Now Lin Miaoxiao helps her manage the affairs of the female medical school. She only goes to Jishatang once every 3 days and no longer sees patients. She mainly teaches gynecological medicine to female doctors. Yin Qiao and Ding Xiang wrote back saying that the Queen Mother left them in Yan'an to teach other midwives, and said that Yan'an's winter is not cold. Kaiju guessed that they must have found their favorite husbands in Yan'an and would not come back. After Lanner married Xuanzi, she managed the Zhang mansion in an orderly manner. Zhang Shuyu was too busy inside and outside the palace, so she handed the account book of Juxian Pavilion to Sunan. Sunan originally liked to look at the accounts, and he was looking forward to the opportunity to practice. In the autumn of the 3rd year of Sheng, Qiuju's son was born, and Gao Mu named him Gaoda. Zhang Shuyu almost burst out laughing when she went to see the child. She teased the child in the swaddling clothes and said, "Don't get lost when you grow up, otherwise you will live up to your name." My queen, Gao Mu means that he hopes he will have a good character in the future. Qiuju has been with Zhang Shuyu for many years, and she can tell at a glance that she is teasing her son. In the winter of that year, Aunt Du and Du Yutong gave birth to sons one after another. Lin Miaoxiao was so happy to have a son in her old age that she personally went to give Zhang Shuyu a red egg. Zhang Shuyu gave the child a generous gift, and also sent 2 female doctors from Jishitang to the Lin mansion to take care of the mother and the child. Zhang Shuyu also sent a letter to Sujin, asking them to marry the 2 female doctors sent from the capital and keep them by her side for future use. The queen was not pregnant for a year after her marriage, and some ministers were ready to move, and openly and secretly proposed that the emperor select concubines to fill the harem. Xiao Jingzhao replied to the ministers, "Wanling already has a prince. The queen and I are newlyweds, and we are deeply in love. We have no intention of selecting a concubine now." The ministers were almost choked to death by the emperor's words. It has been a year since the marriage and they are still newlyweds. The emperor is lying with his eyes open without blinking. Everyone has seen the queen's contribution to Wanling, so the ministers had to shut up and look for another opportunity. That night, Xiao Jingzhao pestered Zhang Shuyu into the space again. After the 2 of them were intimate, they hugged each other and rubbed their ears. Xiao Jingzhao stroked the smooth body in his arms. Mo Zixuan already has a son. It is said that several concubines in his harem are pregnant. Let's have a child too, okay. After a year of marriage, Zhang Shuyu was no longer as shy as a newlywed. She put her jade arms around the emperor's waist, closed her beautiful eyes, and offered her red lips, responding to him with her body. It was a rare occasion for the queen to take the initiative. Xiao Jingzhao was overjoyed. He lowered his head and kissed her red lips, instantly falling into her tenderness. After being expelled from the palace, she returned with her cub and amazed the whole city. Author, Hanggu. Chapter 567. The spring of the 4th year of prosperity. The emperor and the queen mother personally returned to the capital to arrange the wedding of Princess Yang He and Lin Xianzi. With Aunt Cai beside the queen mother taking care of things, Zhang Shuyu felt much more relaxed. The Empress Dowager was accompanying her son in the palace, and Xiao Jingzhao proposed to accompany Zhang Shuyu to Dehua Temple to enjoy the peach blossoms. Aunt Meng was no longer in Dehua Temple. They said that Aunt Meng left here with a middle-aged man who lost his wife. The countryside is full of spring, and the peach blossoms on the branches are still burning. Xiao Jingzhao held Zhang Shuyu's hand and walked in the sea of flowers. Seeing Zhang Shuyu staring at the pink flowers on the branches in a daze, Xiao Jingzhao rubbed the back of her hand with his fingers and said warmly, "Meng has not married for many years, but she has fallen in love with her in middle age. That person must be someone who can be trusted for life. Well, Aunt Meng is a transparent person. If she is willing to let him go, that person should be right." In order for the emperor and empress to eat meat in the nunnery, Xiang Yang and Xiang Song went to a nearby pond to catch 2 big herrings. During dinner, as soon as the fish was brought into the room, Zhang Shuyu covered her mouth and rushed out of the room. Xiao Jingzhao followed out quickly. Seeing Zhang Shuyu stroking her chest and retching, he said anxiously, "You has caught a cold. Let's go back to the palace that night." The maid who was close to you stepped forward and bent her knees slightly. "Congratulations, Your Majesty, Your Majesty seems to be very happy." Xiao Jingzhao was stunned for a moment, and then he remembered that the queen's menstruation was delayed for half a month. We have another child." Xiao Jingzhao was so happy that he forgot that there were maids watching beside him. He picked up Zhang Shuyu and rained hot kisses on the queen's lips. On New Year's Eve of this year, Zhang Shuyu successfully gave birth to a little princess, named Bao. Xiao Jingzhao couldn't put it down when he looked at his beautiful daughter. The 9-year-old Sushui is a little less childish and a little more calm. When he sees his sister, he turns into a doting demon. As long as he is around, the maid will not be allowed to get close to his sister. Since he had a younger sister, he didn't see Siekir as cute anymore. When Mo Zixuan learned that Zhang Shuyu had given birth to a princess, he sent envoys to Wanling to congratulate her. Xiao Jingzhao gritted his teeth as he looked at the long gift list. What's the intention of this guy? With so many gifts, people who don't know think he's here to hire me. Zhang Xiu looked at his jealous face and couldn't help but laugh. You are overthinking it. The emperor has made good friends with him in business and gave him glass-making prescriptions. He is thinking about the emperor's good deeds. Then why did he send so much wine? He also brought a portrait of his son. Your Majesty is overly worried. He wants us to try Lianguo's peach blossom wine. As for the portrait, don't you think the child is cute? A pair of fox eyes, it looks like he is his own child. Xiao Jingzhao couldn't help but take a curious look. When the envoy asked to see Zhang Xiu, he brought along a letter written by Mo Zixuan. Zhang Xiu saw that Xiao Jingzhao was too jealous and did not dare to mention it to him. The letter did not say how much he missed her, but it was filled with lovesickness. He said that he often dreamed of returning to Wanling at night, and in his dreams were Sushui, Shuer, and the pavilion in Zhang Mansion. Every time Lin Miaoxiao received a letter from Lianguo, his eyes were red and he was cursing. It is useless to scold the apprentice and nephew, but among the 3,000 beauties in the harem, only the queen gave birth to a son, and the rest of the concubines were all daughters. When the envoy left, he specially brought a large box of medicinal herbs to Mo Zixuan. Zhang Xiu smiled and said nothing, letting Lin Miao handle Mo Zixuan. In the 8th year of his reign, Minister Wanling once again proposed to the emperor to replenish the harem. The emperor said that the queen was pregnant and it was inconvenient to organize the draft. The emperor and the queen mother said that Princess Kong had just given birth to a son, and they had to go back to Yan'an. Zhang Xiu gave birth to a prince this time, and the ministers temporarily shut up. This summer, Sunan, who failed the imperial examination, got into trouble. Princess Changle held Zhang Xiu's crying pear blossoms in the Jiaofang Palace. Sister-in-law, you have to make the decision for me and punish that guy Sunan severely. Zhang Xiu was used to seeing this pair of happy enemies quarreling, so she smiled and consoled her. You are considered childhood sweethearts, so don't worry about it. After a few words. No, it's not. Changle cried until he was out of breath. What did he do to make you so sad? Zhang Xiu's eyes widened. Changle sobbed and said, I just said that he can't even pass the Jinshi examination. He is not a man. He, Wu. Zhang Xiu had a bad feeling in her heart and asked hurriedly, did he hit you? No, he's a bastard. In anger, he took my hand and touched his, there. Changle cried and raised his right hand, shaking it several times in disgust. Pht. Ha ha ha. Zhang Xiu couldn't help laughing, and secretly thought that this brat Sunan was too courageous to dare to prove himself so simply and directly. In the winter month of that year, the emperor summoned Sunan and issued an imperial edict to grant marriage, thus fulfilling this happy couple. The two got married that month. On the 3rd day after the wedding, Zhang Xiu was worried that the two would fight again after the wedding, so she specifically asked the maid serving the princess closely about their relationship. The maid said that during the past 3 days, the prince-in-law was not allowed to enter the house to serve her. She always heard the princess cursing at night, but the prince-in-law did not curse her either. The two of them slept until noon every day and did not get up until noon. Zhang Xiu is someone who has been here before, so she knows that the young couple is tired of their deep love. In the 9th year of Sheng's reign, Sunan and Changle's first child was born. Mrsu was so happy that she couldn't help but praise Princess Changle for her good health. The child became pregnant in the 1st month of their marriage. In the 15th year of her reign, Xiekira was chosen as the crown princess. This year, after years of planning by Xiao Jingzhao, the Sang kingdom collapsed and was divided up by the surrounding small countries, while Wanling and Liang kingdom became increasingly powerful. When the ministers again submitted memorials to the emperor to fill the harem, Xiao Jingzhao wrote an edict of abdication. Sui did not change the name of the country after ascending the throne, saying that Wanling would continue to prosper. The emperor abdicated in his prime, and the ministers were dumbfounded. 3 years after Sui Sui ascended the throne, Siekaer gave birth to the first heir. The first selection was held in the palace. Zhang Shuyu had nothing to do when she heard Xiuju talk about her son's selection. She felt a headache. In the 18th year of Sheng, the two ancestors both passed away in Yan'an. When Bao'er was 14 years old, Mo Zixuan wrote a letter, wanting to marry Bao'er to the Liang crown prince as the Liang crown princess. Xiao Jingzhao cursed, "You wish for it? Who cares about a poor crown princess?" Finally, Liang state sent a princess. Sushui was named concubine Zhengi. Concubine Zhen was lively and beautiful. Among all the concubines in the harem, except the queen, he liked concubine Zhengi the most. Bao'er finally fell in love with the descendants of the Zhen family. When the second son turned 18, Xiao Jingzhao asked Sushui to give him a fiefdom. On a sunny day, a specially made carriage slowly drove out of the capital. In the carriage, Zhang Shuyu nestled in Xiao Jingzhao's broad arms. "Zhao, are you really at ease to leave? With Sujin as the right prime minister and Shui Sheng in charge of the Jinyue, we have cultivated so many loyal ministers over the years, which is enough for our son. Don't think too much. Let's live our free and easy life." When Zhang Shuyu was 80 years old, she seemed to see Xiao Jingzhao, who had passed away a few years ago, coming to pick her up. The sobs of her children and grandchildren came to her ears. She had lived too long, and everyone around her had passed away before her. The loneliness in her heart was just like when she first came here. In this life, she had cried, laughed, regretted, and been wonderful. The past flashed through her mind like a movie. The corners of her lips curled slightly, and the crying in her ears gradually faded away. "Miss, wake up. Your phone has fallen to the ground." A familiar voice sounded in her ears. "I'm not dead. No, I'm still breathing. If you don't believe it, touch your nose." The man's words were full of teasing. Zhang Shuyu opened her eyes suddenly and saw a handsome man in casual clothes smiling at her. "Nanggong Ziyu. Do you know me?" "Xiao, where is Xiao Jingzhao?" Zhang Shuyu got up from the ground and asked anxiously. "Oh, no wonder you can call out my name, it turns out you know my cousin." Zhang Shuyu was ecstatic. She didn't expect that she could see the person in her dream when she opened her eyes. It was so real, as if she had traveled through time. After a moment, Zhang Shuyu realized that she had traveled back again. "What's your name, miss?" "I'm Zhang Shuyu. Please tell me where he is. Recommend his WeChat to me." "Miss, you haven't contacted my cousin for a few years. He had an accident during an experiment and he is gone." Zhang Shuyu fainted. End of the full text.